Hey guys, Greg here. So, we've been talking about avant-garde music for the last week or two, and I thought, let me just grab my records from Ornette Coleman and just go through those. I've got, I don't know, a dozen or so records here from Ornette. Most of his major stuff. Who is Ornette? Let's get into that. Oh, I gotta play some music. You hear that? I got really into Ornette Coleman when I was, I don't know, 30 years ago. And I would do my own Ornette weird freak out experimental records. So here's a cassette I made called Ornette times Ornette. You see that? I recorded two Ornette Coleman things in two different channels. Well, his records already are two bands playing together at the same time, the double quartet. So this is like the quadruple quartet. This is called the Harmolodic split brain experiment. This is the Ornette freakout. These are my own weird cassettes that I made. Yeah, okay, let's turn it down a little bit. Just to listen to cassettes once in a rare while. Okay, Ornette Coleman, one of the most important free jazz saxophonists of all time. And I got a lot of his records, a lot of good stuff. I'm going to sort of pseudo go in order from early career to late career. I might not get it exactly right. This is a classic, famous one everybody should know. And if you're a hardcore jazz fan, you probably should have this. This is our music. This is like a statement. This is who we are. We're doing something different. This is an amazing picture too. Somebody else showed this on a VC recently, but it's Ornette himself, Ornette Coleman. And let's see, is that Don Cherry? And who else do we have? I don't know, be embarrassed, I can't remember. Ed Blackwell, drummer. And Charlie Haden, the bass player. Charlie Haden, when he was much younger. But look at that look on those faces. They're serious. Whatever they're doing, they're serious. And the other frightening thing on here, his price tag says $3.49. If you were lucky enough to buy records when CDs were popular, $3.50. Good luck getting that for $3.50. So anyway, what songs are on here? Humpty Dumpty, I know, and Kaleidoscope, Blues Connotation. I wish I knew what year this was. This is not his first record. This is one of his early records, though. So, did that help you? Did that tell you anything? Probably not. Sorry. Okay. I got a whole table full of records here. Tomorrow is The Question. The new music of Ornette Coleman on Atlantic Records. Rejoicing, Tomorrow's The Question, Tears Inside, a lot of good tunes on here. Liner notes by Nat Hentoff, 1959. But a slightly different band than his classic band. It's got Shelly Manne on drums and Percy Heath or Red Mitchell on bass. Tomorrow is The Question. But a number of good early tunes on here. Okay, I hate to admit this, guys. One of the most important records of his. I don't think I have it on LP. I can't find it. I have it on CD. I spent $8 on this, and it's got the classic song "Lonely Woman." "Lonely Woman" is his most famous song by far, and that is the classic band. Well, Billy Higgins on drums, and a ticket. I guess I went to see him. See if I can even read that. Ornette Coleman at the Orpheum Theater, 1990. So if you saw Ornette Coleman that period or earlier, actually a lot earlier, he played in something called the Double Quartet, which was basically, well, let's get to that. The Double Quartet. Two quartets for the price of one. Two drummers, two bass players, two, what else do you have? Trumpet players? two of each except one saxophone. So Ornette is basically playing in two bands at once. There's two bands and him in the middle. Two quartets, but really it's only 9 musicians. Wait, 7 musicians. Here's one of the classic records from that period. On Atlantic Records, Free Jazz, a collective improvisation by Ornette Coleman. This music is probably a little too loud. And it might be too freaky for all of you. You can tell what this is probably. That's a painting by, whoa, that's a Jackson Pollock painting called White Light. But great, the early versions of this has the gatefold and the die cut. The later versions are just not die cut, so lucky to get this. This was considered a pretty controversial album when it came out. Free Jazz Part 1 and Part 2. That's like 40 minutes uninterrupted. Free Jazz, just one long improvisation. Who's on here? Eric Dolphy is on here. Freddie Hubbard is on here. Scott LaFaro, the great bass player from Bill Evans' band. Plus the usuals, Charlie Haden, Billy Higgins, Ed Blackwell. Oh, I kind of forget there were such other great players in the other side of the double quartet. So, cool. Freddie Hubbard, courtesy of Blue Note Records. What year is that? I don't know. That's one of my prized possessions, having the original version of that. What else do we have? Ornette something else. Music of Ornette Coleman. Let's see. Billy Higgins, Don Payne, Walter Norris, Don Cherry, Ornette. This is on Original Jazz Classics Fantasy. $3.50. This is a reissue, obviously. Kind of thin cardboard, but good to have that one. I'm just gonna whip through some of these for you guys. Here's one of his few records on Blue Note. Great painting on the cover. The Empty Foxhole. And this is with Ornette playing sax, trumpet, and violin. Charlie Haden on bass. And Leonardo playing drums. So, Charlie Haden, Leonardo, his son, looks like he's about 7 or 8 years old there. I saw his son play with him in one of the double quartet concerts I saw in Los Angeles. I was not completely blown away by his son's playing. I don't know what Leonardo's doing these days, but what can I tell you? Blue Note. And whenever you see BLP, that's Liberty. So this does say it was a product of Liberty Records after Liberty was bought out, or after Blue Note was bought by Liberty. Kind of when they started to go downhill a little bit, Blue Note. Okay, what else do we have? What else do we have? Okay, more Blue Notes. Golden Circle in Stockholm, Sweden, Blue Note. And this is volume 1 of a 2-volume set. And I have 3 copies of volume 1. What's up with that? I have 2 on CD and no copies on volume 2. How did that work out? I do not know. Got this for $1.99, but the cover is thrashed. The cover has water damage. The vinyl is fine though. It is a kind of a mid-70s blue label Blue Note. That is one of his best cover photos. A little chilly out there in Sweden. Who's on here? I don't even know the bass player. David Izenzon and Charles Moffat on drums. Getting warm in here. I got more, guys. plenty more Ornette where this came from. We're already up to 17 minutes. Ornette on tenor. He usually does not play tenor. He usually plays alto. In his early days, he played. He even played a plastic saxophone when he first started out. Couldn't afford a metal saxophone, and that kind of became part of his signature sound. Okay, what's this? What's on here? Jimmy Garrison, Ed Blackwell, Don Cherry on Atlantic, Ornette on tenor. One of the less interesting covers. I gotta go grab some more over here, guys. Here's a great cover. 1962 Ornette at Town Hall. Town Hall in New York, Manhattan. And this is a pretty free sounding record. 3 sides on side 1, one long song on side 2. Love the photography. One of his more free jazz outings, I would say. 1962. A lot of people on here I don't know, so I won't mention it. Okay, who else? More Blue Note. New York Is Now. Let's see. Round Trip. A couple tunes on here I know. Round Trip, Broadway Blues. Dewey Redman. Jimmy Garrison, Elvin Jones. More of a classic Blue Note sort of a lineup. You don't hear him doing any jazz standards. Almost exclusively records his own tunes, and his own tunes are certainly unique and original. This one has a little mini gatefold. I didn't realize. What have we got in there? Nice photo. Is this a double gatefold? No. Nice blurry shot of Ornette there. Okay, we're going to move into some later period stuff. He had a later band called Prime Time. And check out the sort of 80s Miami Vice outfit and art. The original quartet plus Prime Time in all languages, looking slick there. Oh, this is interesting. I took out the inner sleeves. Even though I used plastic, I retained the original ones because Caravan of Dreams Productions is a pretty unique record label, so I thought I'd hold on to that. So 2 bands. Band number 1, that's the original quartet, Charlie Haden, all those guys. And then a different band. Who are these guys? Ornette Coleman again, Jamaaladeen Tacuma, Charlie Ellerby, Bernie Nicks. So some of the guys I'm familiar with. This was kind of the band that I saw him with in LA at least once. Any tunes on here that I know? None that I can think of. So I guess we got 2 bands on one record. Each disc is a different band, I guess. I don't remember everything here. Okay, here's another one. This is on... Oh, shit. Oh, the record almost fell out. Horizon, that's kind of a small jazz label I got a few records on. Dancing in Your Head. And Horizon always had unique packaging and design. So... let's see, it's got Ornette Coleman's complete discography on here, even though 99% of those records aren't on this record label. That's unusual. Let's see. Yeah, I don't remember this record that well, let's be honest. Okay, what's this? A reissue on Columbia? Just plain old Ornette? I don't know this record. Broken Shadows. Broken Shadows sounds familiar. Sorry, didn't do my research. What is this record? Sounds familiar. There's more, guys. There's more. Virgin Beauty. Now we're getting into the later stuff, the 80s, maybe even the 90s. This is 1988. Ornette Coleman and Prime Time. He incorporated a lot of modern and electronic instruments in some of these later works. Some elements of funk. Jerry Garcia is on this record, by the way. Jerry Garcia. And let's see. Similar lineup that he uses on most of these, but Jerry Garcia also. Okay, there's a few more guys. Ornette and Prime Time on CD on Harmolodic Records. Did I mention the phrase Harmolodic? That was his. That was sort of his philosophy of the new brand of free jazz that he was inventing. He invented that tune, Harmolodic. And can I explain it? Probably not. This is on Verve Records. Do I know what year? Tone Dialing is the name of the record. Harmolodic, a record label for the equal access to the information expression. One way, one result is fiction. Okay. More about the philosophy of Ornette. And he's doing this crazy multicolored font that's impossible to read for an old guy like me. But let's explain how the senses work in the harmonic world. Can you read that? Smell is present, taste is quality, hearing is receiving, touch is action, sight is territories. Probably have to listen to this record a few times to figure out what that means, but his later stuff got very funky, modern, some electronics. It's a cool telephone with, instead of regular numbers, it's got words like what I just read you: quality, smell, taste. Dial me up some taste, please. Okay, changing it up a little bit. Who's on here? Can you tell? Can you see? This is Pat Metheny and Ornette Coleman doing sort of a collaboration called Song X, also with Charlie Haden, Jack DeJohnette, and Leonardo. Great players. This is on Geffen Records, and I saw Pat Metheny play when this concert came out. When this record came out. Before I get to that, the tunes on here. There's some pretty cool tunes on here. The production might be a little too modern, a little too bright, a little too electronic if you're used to classic traditional jazz acoustic instruments. Let's say overproduced. The sound, not necessarily the music, but the music is very improvisational and spontaneous. But I like the tunes on here. Video Games, Mob Job, Kathleen Gray. I think Kathleen Gray is a really nice ballad, which has been recorded a few other times by other people. So I saw sort of this band play in LA when this record came out. Charlie Haden is one of the heads of the music department, was up at Cal Arts, which is a college just north of here. So I saw them play at Cal Arts, and Ornette Coleman was not there. Couldn't make it. They had Ernie Watts sitting in for Ornette on sax, so a little bit of a disappointment, but you got to see the band in a very small room, kind of an intimate setting. And afterwards I got to meet Pat Metheny because I was with a friend of mine who's my old guitar teacher who used to study with Pat. So I might have one other record to show you guys. Please hold on while I look around for another record. It's down here somewhere. Maybe. Where is it? Come on, bro. Where is it? Yes. Okay. I'm sorry we're ending on a Pat Metheny record that Charlie Haden's not even on it. But it's Charlie Haden's, I'm sorry, it's Ornette Coleman's band, sort of. It's called Rejoicing, which is an Ornette tune, and it's got a bunch of Ornette songs on it. Rejoicing, Humpty Dumpty, Tears Inside, to confuse you, it's got a tune called Lonely Woman on it, but that's not Ornette's tune, that's a Horace Silver tune. So Charlie Haden on bass, Billy Higgins on drums, two of the original people that used to play with Ornette. So it's a trio, 1983. Pat Metheny hated the sound of this record. I like the sound, but it's very dark. Pat Metheny basically fired ECM Records, Manfred Eicher, and said, I can't work with you anymore. And that's when he moved to Geffen Records. A little bit of trivia. So it is a very dark record, and a little bit more sparse than most of the Ornette stuff. What else do I have by Ornette? One more. What is this? Sound Museum? I don't remember what this is. Oh, it's on Verve. So that's when I worked for Polygram. I used to get all the Verve stuff. Low price. I don't remember it. Guys, there's been a whirlwind tour of my Ornette Coleman records and some cassettes and some CDs. I don't think I did justice to Ornette being one of the most important and innovative free jazz players of the 20th century. But check out his music and let me know what you think. Let me know what I missed, because I missed a lot and I rushed through this. Alright guys, thanks a lot.